From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update 2022, live and direct from Santa Monica, California today. We'll be going over the President's State of the Union address happening tonight and what he will say and won't say about Build Back Better Act tonight. All the incredible great news and the big checks that are coming to you. CR for Stimulus 1.0 right around the corner. With that $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds in there that could get you a $2,000 stimulus check. Build Back Better Act coming thereafter that could get you MSC, $2,000 a month, and $1,000 thereafter. And tonight you're going to see an address for the American people, but you will not see details that are covered in today's recording. I'll explain to you why. The incredible great news coming up. Then we turn to SS 300 that could raise your benefits up an additional $300 a month. But what is Jay Powell doing in the next few minutes? Jay Powell set to testify on Capitol Hill about where inflation rates are going, and boy, it's a big question mark as the situation overseas in Ukraine and Russia getting very destabilized in the last few minutes. Big envoy of tankers heading to the capital city of Ukraine. What does that mean for Jay Powell set to testify on Capitol Hill in just minutes to explain what he's dealing with interest rates and inflation? All the latest details on how it impacts your $300 more per month if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and railroad benefits. Then the President of the United States, he has other tools, and one of those tools is to release some of the oil and gas in stockpile to keep the price of gasoline down at the pump. But gasoline is surging overnight. And yesterday it was 100, then it went to 101, and right now it's about 104 a barrel. Boy, a lot going on. But later in this video, I'm going to show you how to get big sums of money. It's third stimulus. And viewers overnight got thousands of dollars. We got breaking news reports from Ukraine to here, from Capitol Hill to Santa Monica. A lot of money and a lot of money available for you. A lot of details unfolding in the last few minutes. It's a big, major recording. Stay at the very end as all this incredible money is available for you right now, and it starts on Mornings. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Live here in Santa Monica, California, with the latest developing details overseas as well with Ukraine. I stand with Ukraine. I'll be touching more on what's happening with that situation in just a minute. But we're going to start with tonight's presidential address and what you're going to hear and not hear about Build Back Better Act in the address. But you're getting those checks. Very reassuring. Those incredible checks from Build Back Better for stimulus. I'm going to go over them in this recording today, live from Santa Monica. We'll be looking at the first way to get checks even earlier than that, and it's CR for Stimulus 1.0. Just a few days away. President may not even mention it tonight because it's not enough running time to cover it. Then we'll be looking at 2 and 3.0, the great news about that, and Jay Powell, really with a very difficult balancing act. He's your federal chair, head of the Fed, and he's set to testify on Capitol Hill in just minutes to explain what he's doing with interest rates. Interest rates determine your ability to raise your benefits up $200 more per month, SS 300. And I have the latest details direct from Santa Monica, California about what Jay Powell's looking at right now as a big envoy of tankers and trucks and military vehicles heading to the capital of Ukraine. Is Jay Powell going to come in with a very robust announcement or tailor it back? I have the latest details as well. Then the President of the United States, he has certain tools, and those tools deal with Brent crude. Overnight, Brent crude, the price of gasoline, surged to 104 a barrel. No bueno. And a major new economic report out suggests that because of the Ukraine-Russia tensions, we could be going to 105 by the end of the week. Ugh. No good. I'll explain the latest details and how it impacts your wallet. But first, let's go right into Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon, and the presidential State of the Union address tonight. Build Back Better Act is the fourth stimulus recon with 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons. And those incredible checks are going to be happening. I'm going to go over the checks first. Then I'm going to go over what's happening tonight. And then I'm going to go over what you need to know across the land. There is a lot of checks in Build Back Better Act, at least 50, 60,000. It will become a law. And tonight you'll hear a mention of it, but not with detail. More about that in a second. Let's look at those 3 clusters of checks and those 3 add-on checks that are in Build Back Better and are stated and are going to become law. Hazard pay got in there for my essential workers 1 more year, the earned income tax credit. Great news. $4,000 of elder care got it in there. $4,000 of care for young children. $3,600 checks for the young college students, and then for the young children, and then a $550 check for my college students. $12,500 for the purchase of an electric vehicle, and then home repairs. If you live in a low-income community, they got those incredible home repairs in there as well. The first of 3 add-ons of checks comes from the shores here of Southern California. You're looking at the beautiful pier of Santa Monica, California. And that first add-on of checks comes from our legislator, Maxine Waters. A little bit less than $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. Wow. This is huge. It is money given to the seller in your name by the federal government at the time of purchase. A little bit less than $25,000. It's huge. That's the first of 3 add-on checks to Build Back Better. Let's look at that second cluster of checks in Build Back Better. Home repairs and paid leave. Home repairs is to weatherize your home, and the paid leave is if you have to stay home due to sickness or illness, which is, for example, every time that you see Mitt Romney yawn at the president's State of the Union address. Nick, can you just take some NyQuil, please? So if you have to stay home because you just got tired watching Mitt and Romney yawn all the time, so how much are you going to get paid? $1,700 a week, $70,000 or more annual income, $35,000 annual salary, then it's $800 a week, $15,000, then $400 a week. 4 to 6 weeks per year, and that's W-2 1099. If you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, they're going to get the check across the land. Part of the household. It's all incredible news. Now, the second add-on of checks, I'm surprised it's not a law yet. But if you're a senior person on disability and you need home health care, you don't have it currently. They got it in there. Thank goodness. A Joe Biden campaign promise got in there. Just a little bit less than $250 billion free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. That third cluster check is where we find true deliciousness. And that third cluster is free internet. Viewers yesterday on the live chat, if you're on the live chat right now, tell me where you're tuning in from. They said last night, can we get free internet now? You can. It's available across the land. Reach out to the volunteers. But fourth stimulus, Build Back Better, does it even bigger. Also, checks for independent contractors, checks for farmers, free school meals for all checks, and then the incredible checks for seniors. Seniors are getting a lot of different rounds of checks. First, they got in there the Medicaid gap fix, more about that in a second, and also the hearing checks. But the senators have had to add in their dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, which is par for the course of senators adding checks, which is incredible recon, because guess what other checks they want to add in there? I think you know what the name is. I think you know what the 3 letters are, right in the live chat. There you go. Someone just wrote it. It is MSC. MSC is going into Build Back Better Act, says the senators. You are not going to hear the letters MSC mentioned during the presidential State of the Union address tonight. And you're also going to not hear any of these checks in the State of the Union address tonight. But I'm going to get to that in a second. But first, let's go over what MSC is and why it's going in there and how it pays you a lot of checks. Joseph Biden, in latest comments from his press secretary, says that all the checks, including these adult automatic stimulus checks, are ready to go out in Build Back Better and will go out. So how much and what is MSC? It's monthly IRS stimulus checks paid by IRS to you on a monthly basis. Part of the checks that will be added to Build Back Better that pays you already $40,000 to $60,000 of checks already passed the House, stayed in there on the Senate side. So who gets these additional MSC checks? Eligibility is the same as a third stimulus check. The legislators of this channel have told thousands of viewers of this channel that you would get it if you got a third. So who got the third and who would get this fourth? Single individuals, $75,000 less annual income, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it, double it. Family of 4, here's the family of 4. They get it, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you get it as well. It's not income, it's not taxable. Offered nationwide. It is not It is not something just for California. In California, we get electric surfboards instead. And it goes off the most recent tax return. Most recent tax return had direct deposit. That's how you get paid, otherwise in the mail. And to that one viewer said, my fiance says you have to pay it back. Look at the return policy and engagement ring, honey. There's still time to pull out. Say, thank you so much. Now, that MSC, how much does it pay? $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. Now, where would they add this in there? They would add it in there during the modification of the language of the legislation, the Build Back Better Act, in the said subcommittee. Now, let's take a look at what is happening tonight as I stand with Ukraine, and you should stand with Ukraine as well. Let's take a look at what's happening tonight in that presidential address. A presidential address is a prime time television event, folks. He only has a certain number of minutes of running time to talk. It's a little bit of dramatics, a lot of TV ratings, and it's not a debriefing of every check you're going to get. So you're not going to hear MSC. You're not going to hear SS300. You're not going to hear CR for stimulus. You're not going to even hear the word check. You're just going to say maybe 4 words, and I encourage my colleagues to pass Build Back Better Act. That's basically what he may say. He may even not say the word Build Back Better. He say my economic policy. And that's all you're going to hear. This will be the second address, presidential State of the Union address, covered on this channel since the channel launched a year and a half ago. And I know what happened last time. People tuned in thinking it was sort of like a teacher giving a lecture, the president, and then he was going to give you a whole rundown of what he's going to do. He don't have time to do that. He has a lot of subjects to cover in a presidential address, and the purpose of it is more dramatics, not to give you a debriefing. Now, ironically, if you were watching this channel last year this time, when he had a press conference a few days after the presidential address, people asked him about stuff, and he left it out then, even as a stimulus check was going out. The check was actually in the mail, and people asked him about it, and he didn't mention it. People were like, wait, is it not going out? He didn't mention it. That's not the purpose of a presidential address. So again, you're not going to hear any mention of the details of these items, but they're all happening. The only thing I want to see tonight is when the president mentions Build Back Better Act, is the director with the camera going to cut to Joe Manchin's face and zoom in? That's what I want to see tonight. So that is the Build Back Better Act. Now, he's also not going to talk about the President of the United States, CR for stimulus, the continuing resolution, because obviously it's going to get done. I mean, the continuing resolution is to fund the federal government. So he's not going to talk about that either, but I am right now. The CR for stimulus is the first way to get you a check right out the door. And what's at issue? A continuing resolution is a budget bill to fund the federal government, and it is right on the doorsteps, just a few days away with an inherent deadline. And it can get a $2,000 check in there. Let's go over what's going on. Back in 2020, we had seen the situation unravel as a second stimulus package was not getting done, folks. So I created on this channel the concept of CR for stimulus. So if you're in the live chat, write it right now. The concept was insert a stimulus check in a continuing resolution, which is a budget bill, done every 3 to 6 months, inserted in there because it's bipartisan, small, quick, inherent deadline. We pushed, I created the idea, you made the advocacy, and together, we made history. I made history because that became your $600 stimulus check. Millions of Americans got it. You made history as Purple Power Caucus, the viewership of this channel, because you pushed and you got it out. Second stimulus never paid anyone any money. Never had a bill, never had a vote, never got anything out the door. Well, 5 weeks ago, I said, do you want to bring it back? Viewer said, it? Yes. And it came on back. And today, where is CR for Stimulus 1, 2, 3, and 4.0? CR for Stimulus 1.0 is all really great at the moment. Inherent deadline early March, $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds in there. The discretion is the hands of the cabinet members of Joseph Biden, and that includes Janet Yellen right here, your Treasury Secretary. $1.5 trillion is enough for a $2,000 stimulus check. So what is left to be talked about on this subject matter? I'll go over the latest breaking details on that after the commercial break. Then we'll be looking at CR for Stimulus 2 and 3 and 4.0, breaking news on that. Plus, Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, he determines monetary policy and deals with inflation. And guess what? He is testifying on Capitol Hill in just a few minutes from now, and he's going to deal with whether or not he's going to have 5 interest rate spikes and 5 FOMC meetings in the next 5 months. And the one in just a few days from now will be a half basis points, or he's going to pull back because of what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. This is big for SS 300 because the president can make a phone call today to raise your benefits up $200 a month. He should do it because this is a tool the president has the opportunity to do. And he should do it right today before Jay Powell starts bringing down inflation. I'll have the breaking details of what Jay Powell is going to say. It's brand new, and it's a view of the large convoy of Russian military vehicles nearly 40 miles outside the capital of Kiev. I'm going to get to in just a second. Then, the president has to deal with another issue. He wants to give you a check, well, you have to make sure the check has some value, and the value is determined whether gasoline is out of control. Yesterday, I told you the gasoline had gone from $100 a barrel to 101. Guess what it is right now? It's higher. How much higher and how much worse could it go by the end of this week? I have the breaking details. You haven't heard this before, and you are going to be shocked. Then, we're going to look at how to get you money, and viewers got thousands of dollars overnight. You didn't get it? I'm going to show you how to get it. Stay to the very end. Then we go back into Build Back Better Act, and we have the latest developing details that impact your wallet from the events of what's unfolding in Russia and Ukraine. As the Russian economy is collapsing, the central bank is closed, its stock market is shot down. But how does this impact your wallet back at home? I have the latest details on how you're going to get lots of money in the next few weeks. Those incredible details coming up in the second half of this video. Stay with me as a Big Mornings LA continues back in 60 seconds.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now, direct from Santa Monica, California, live as Mornings LA continues with the latest breaking financial news this morning. CR for Stimulus 1.0 just a few days away with an inherent deadline, and the great news is that while the butter is butter and the toast is toasted, the $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds are in there and could give you a $2,000 stimulus check. So what could go wrong and what could go really well? All the latest details coming up right now. Then we'll be looking at CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0 and the developing details of what Congress is doing to merge them across the land. Then, of course, we'll be looking at Jay Powell testified on Capitol Hill in just hours, and the inflationary rates and the inflationary data that came in overnight. This impacts SS 300, raising your benefits up $200 a month right now. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, veteran benefits, why Joe Biden needs to do it today, not later. It's brand new, and it's on Mornings. Then we've been looking back at the situation of gasoline prices surging overnight, Brent crude growing again. What are the solutions, and could it get worse? It impacts your wallet, and the situation is very fluid, and it's impacted by the events of what's unfolding in Russia and Ukraine right now. We'll be looking at the battleground of what is ensuing with that and what tools Joe Biden has to do and if he's using them right now. Then, of course, we look back at the big money that you can get right today. And overnight, viewers cleaned up. Did you get some money? I'm going to show you how to get money. Stay to the very end of this video. It's thousands of dollars, and it's third stimulus. We got a big, great recording today, folks. I'm excited you're here. This is Mornings, and this is LA. You're new to this channel? Well, welcome. Go under this video and subscribe. You're watching LA, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America in year 1.5. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. This is the channel where people are getting big sums of money every day, learning about how to be financially independent, develop financial independence, financial wealth, and financial education across the land. And with that, we're going to go right into the first item teed up for your money, the Continuing Resolution 1.0, as I stand with Ukraine. The situation right now is that the Continuing Resolution has an inherent deadline. Good. Early March. Good. $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds. Great. That's enough for a $2,000 stimulus check. And bipartisan support. Weeks of negotiations, Republicans, Democrats. Done. So what else is left to be said about the Continuing Resolution? You got to ensure they don't spend the money on a park. No joke. So you need to advocate to those senators and say, hey, get the money out and don't spend it the wrong way. $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds right there, and it does not replace Build Back Better Act. It just gets you the funds sooner rather than later and gets you some right now. So advocate to Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer, and also include that Vermont Democratic senator I mentioned earlier in this video. What do you want to say? Very simply, pick up the phone and call those senators' offices. We're on a crunch mode right now and say, hey, we have the Continuing Resolution. Early March, you got $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds in there. Use some of the funds as a $2,000 stimulus check. That's simple. Just pick up the phone and call them. You've been great on social media as well. Princess and all the wonderful viewers tagging the elected officials saying use part of the $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds as a $2,000 stimulus check for us. Again, we're not adding extra funds in there. We're just using part of the funds whose discretion is at the hands of the cabinet members. Very, very simple across the board. Now, you can take it up a notch and say professionally, respectfully, you know what, let's be frank here. It's been 11 months for Build Back Better. You promised us checks. You promised us lots of money. We haven't gotten a penny yet from Build Back Better. Get us some money in the CR. It's right here and today. All right, there is CR for Stimulus 1.0 teed up. Again, you're not going to hear about the Continuing Resolution in the presidential address because it's going to get done. It's a non-story for him to cover. He would never cover it during tonight's State of the Union address. But let's look at CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0. The House Democrats understood that other pieces of economic legislation need to be passed, and they have now sent that to the Senate, where the Senate Republicans, led by Todd Young, are merging theirs together. Inherent deadline, not really at the moment. So we don't have a crunch number date with that one, CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0. So I want to jump right to the one that is next, right out the door, and can get you the relief you need right today. And it, my friends, of course, is SS300. SS300 is the opportunity to raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, $200 more per month now, and an additional $100 later this year. If Joe Biden does one simple thing, make a phone call. What's at issue? What's at issue is that inflation is at its highest level now, is going to be coming down. Jay Powell is testifying on Capitol Hill in just a few minutes from now, and he's going to testify about how he's going to bring down inflation. But President Liz Warren said they wanted to reform the Social Security Administration to tie your benefits to inflation. Yeah, you want it tied to inflation now, not after inflation goes down. Because once your benefits go up, they never go down. We're going to go over the breaking details of what Jay Powell is set to say in just a few minutes from now. And we're going to understand how this impacts your wallet for SS300. First, what is SS300? It started as a campaign promise from Elizabeth Warren of 6 months of SS200. $200 on top of your existing benefits you're on SSI, SSDI, and similar. She withdrew from presidential campaign runs in 2020. And Joe Biden says, I like Liz's policies. I'll do them. He adopted as part of his campaign promises. And then when he was president-elect, he wrote them on joebiden.com, December 2020, saying you need $200 more per month, and it was an urgent situation. Well, he didn't get it done. He came in office. And then Democrats noticed that and said, we're going to do it by fifth stimulus. 11 months of that, and it didn't happen. So 4 weeks ago on camera, 3 weeks ago on camera, I came up with my solution. Another solution to something that is there, and it's called SS300. First, what is it? It's replacing COLA with inflation so that your benefits go up $200 more per month right now, and the additional $100 later this year. Very, very simple. Now, you want it done today when inflation is high. Once your benefits go up, they never come down. The problem is that there is one guy, well, a lot of guys, that are trying to bring inflation down because it has to come down. And his name is Jay Powell. Jay Powell, who's the federal chair in the United States, is set to testify on Capitol Hill in the next few minutes and all throughout this week to discuss what he's going to do with monetary policies to bring inflation down. What's at issue? How is he doing this? 5 meetings in 5 months called the FOMC meetings, in which he's going to raise interest rates to bring inflation down. This is why you want Joe to make the phone call now, so that your benefits go up before inflation goes down. Now, what is Jay Powell balancing out? Before Russia invaded Ukraine, we were looking at 5 meetings, 5 interest rate spikes, quarter basis points each. That was then. Then, after Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, then we said, well, maybe it's going to be a little bit less. We're vacillating between 7 spikes and 5 meetings, or 5 and 5 meetings. And then the concern is this first one. Oh, it's just a few days away. Is Jay going to do a half basis point? And the situation right now is that Jay Powell is not stupid. He sees that there is a large convoy of Russian military vehicles 40 miles outside the capital of Ukraine at the moment of this recording. Very fluid situation. Those vehicles may be in the capital or at the capital by the time Jay Powell's testifying. And if he wants to come in really heavy-handed on an inflationary number by raising the spike, half basis point, when the capital is about to be laid siege to, it may look out of touch. I think he's going to do a quarter basis point in the next few days and give himself wiggle room because the situation is very fluid. Now, the analysts believe that the number is really vacillating. What are we looking at? Well, Jay Powell had it really wrong was the problem. He said that the inflationary rate was going to be 1% to 2% in December 2021 and temporary. He got it wrong. I said it was wrong at the time. I said it was going to be 8% in December and not temporary. Then, while she said 2 to 3%, I said wrong. I said 8, not temporary. Over the weekend, one of his governors spoke here in California, Santa Barbara, along the coast, and said that he believes that inflation is at its peak, but not going higher, but is not going down for several months. That is where my analysis is the same. I believe that where you see inflation right now, it's our highest point. We're not coming down just yet, but we're not getting worse. This is why Joe Biden needs to make the phone call right now. Joe, make the call. Make the call, Joe, to swap out COLA with inflation. What does he do? The President of the United States has certain tools. Jay Powell has certain tools. But when it comes to the President, his tool is talking to his federal agencies. And he needs to pick up the phone and contact the Social Security Administrator he put in. He fired Commissioner Saul and he put that person in and say, hey, I got seniors. I got people on disabilities. They're hurting. Inflation's out of control. And I need you to do something. I need you to do it right now. I need you to replace COLA with inflation. That'll get them more money, $200 more per month. They're in need. Inflation's out of control. We're not going to bring it down for a few more months. I have to deal with gas. Jay Powell's trying to get inflation down. Just do it right now. This is something Jay Powell can't do. Only Joe Biden could do. And this would be absolutely so perfect. Additional $200 a month right now. Inflation is going to be about 4% later this year. That'll be an additional $100 then. SS300 done. Very simple across the board. We will be watching what Jay Powell says in those in those comments throughout the week. He'll be talking all throughout the week on Capitol Hill, and we will see whether he pivots based upon the events in Ukraine and Russia. He certainly probably has already pivoted somewhat, but the situation in Ukraine is changing by the minute. You're watching this broadcast on a Tuesday morning at about 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. All the cities of Ukraine are still within Ukrainian control, but that could change. And will Jay Powell's pivot change as well? That's where we are on that one. Now, there's another issue at hand that has nothing to do with Jay Powell, but has everything to do with your wallet, your money, and the burden lies with the President of the United States. And what is it? The price of gasoline. It would be myopic, misunderstanding the situation to say, hey, a $600 stimulus check is coming in the mail, but it's going to be worth 12 cents because your gasoline at the pump is $20 a gallon. What happened? Yeah, so it's very important to understand what's going on with gasoline, because gasoline could destroy any economy, including ours, if it's not kept under control. And this is why it's one of the brand new subjects on this video, on this channel, because if this is not controlled, it's going to get very, very bad. And I have breaking news about it today, and boy, it's a very fluid situation. What are we talking about? Gasoline, how much you pay at the pump, also called Brent crude if we're looking at it internationally, it determines world economies. And who can do policies to fix it? The president, the leadership. What's at issue? Gasoline, if it goes too expensive, then you have massive unemployment, you have recession, you have stagflation, and economies may go under and destabilize overnight. Moreover, if one country is fine, but another country is not fine, that could negatively collaterally hurt the other economy as well. Gasoline production is made in some countries, and then some countries don't make so much gasoline. What's the number one producing gasoline country in the world? Jump in the live chat. See if, right in the live chat, if you think you know what country makes more gasoline than any other. If you wrote Russia, you got it wrong. It's actually Venezuela. And what's at issue here is that countries that make gasoline store it and save some. And that some countries that don't make it buy it and also save some. If you look up how much gasoline that Italy has made this year, let's say they made more olive oil than they made gasoline this year. How much have they saved? How much can they survive if they had no gasoline tomorrow? Let's just say they'll have more beautiful shoes to survive than gasoline. This is a big issue because gasoline to Italy is provided by Russia. Yeah. They don't have gasoline stockpiled like other countries do. So, where's the number right now? You need to know these numbers because these are scary numbers. The price of gasoline, Brent crude, covered on this channel the last few days has fluctuated dramatically. The day before Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, it was hovering about $100 a barrel. Then it went up to $105. Countries that stockpile gasoline is called their strategic reserves. And when they release some, it comes down. What's at issue? The more oil available, the cheaper the price. The less oil available, like the 1970s, the higher the price it goes up. So what the president do immediately, as soon as Russia invaded Ukraine, released a little bit of oil, brought us down to $94 a barrel. Good. How long did that last? About 10 seconds. Because guess what happened? On the weekend, yesterday's recording, I told you we went to about $100 to 101 a barrel. That didn't help very long, folks, did it? Where are we right now? At the time of this recording, at just about 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, we are now shooting up to 104.41 a barrel. That's the international benchmark Brent crude number. Last week at one point we were at 106 for a few minutes. So this is the highest number since 2014. And look, it moved $3 in just half a day. I was telling you it was 101 last night. This is not good. Why? Analysts believe that we can sustain 6 months of the same inflation rate. We are not getting worse. So that's fine. But at $100 a barrel, we're at 104 right now. This is not a sustainable number. 120, horrible. 130, horrible. What's the new reports coming out today? scary as hell. Morgan Stanley now sees that Brent crude could go to 110 in the second quarter of this year, raising their initial forecast of $100, and they think it could make it go to 125. We already have reports say we cannot sustain 125 as an economy. So, what's being done with this? The International Energy Agency is having an extraordinary meeting today to figure out how to deal with this. Joe Biden has done several things that are working so far, but he needs to do more. Then again, this is a Biden toolkit. Jay Powell can't do this. I can't do this. You can't do it. The President of the United States has tools. And the first one is to get some of our oil that's in stockpile released to bring the price down. Then, second major tool is to get other countries that have their gasoline release to get it released or to share it with another country. So, a country like Italy that's very dominant upon Russian oil, and we can't have Italy go under because we'll get hurt. Then he's getting these other countries that can supply oil to get it over to these countries very dependent upon Russia. And those great deals were broken in the last 48 hours. China, India, Japan, South Korea, and UK. That comment by the President of the United States were as following. We're actively working with all the countries to alleviate the collective release of the strategic petroleum reserves for major producing countries. What else could he do? Get Venezuela to get us some oil. Get Venezuela to get some oil to these countries. And if you've been watching LALATE on Twitter, where I'm really going in deep on all these elements across the board that you need to know, there was one website that is a very big oil website and said something along the lines of, this is not sustainable in Western European countries where people have to drive. Here's my commentary. You know how it's sustainable? You don't drive in Western Europe. You'll have to park the car and ride the bike. The city will have to give public transport for free, buses and trains, and they'll have to get some electric bikes out there. People have to start using something other than gas-powered vehicles if the situation continues. You cannot be gas dependent. Now, I'm going to go in a realm in which you may get a little bit of a headache because this is very complex, but I need you to know it because it may come up tonight in the presidential State of the Union address. There's a very, very tense issue among Democrats on this issue right now. The issue is exactly what you think I'm about to say. Wait a second. We produce oil here in West Texas. Why not make some more oil in West Texas to bring down our price of gasoline so it's cheaper to drive our cars here and cheaper to get the food at the market for the truck drivers? Why not make some more gasoline in West Texas? What's blocking us? The progressives. Yeah, the progressives' policy is to say, let's get off of gasoline, let's get to electric. The moderate Democrats, like Joe Manchin, is let's produce more gasoline. We have an economic crisis at issue. So you are really going to see a dance step with this potentially tonight on the State of the Union address, folks. And if you don't see it, you may see in the Republican response. It's a very tense issue. I have no answer for it. And yeah, if you had West Texas produce more gasoline, our price, which is a 102.19 a barrel right now, would go cheaper, and your price at home would be cheaper across the board. It is very, very extenuating. And there you go. Now, let's get some money. Let's get some money. One of my jobs on this channel is to get you money. And viewers overnight did really well. Thousands of dollars. Have you gotten money from this channel this week? This is what this channel does. It gets people money. And we don't care what the money's called, so long as I can get it to you and you can get it on a regular basis. It is what we call third stimulus. It's rent, utilities, mortgages, and more. And more viewers had success stories overnight. You can hear their brand new success stories right now. When we were in the thick of the pandemic, people needed money. I found this before third stimulus was around. And viewers got some. There wasn't a lot of it. But when third stimulus was in the works, I said, folks, I'm going to be able to get you some money here. I said about $15,000. I undervalued it. Because I had trained you so well, you were ready to pounce as a purple hawk. And the average viewer of this channel got $45,000 when it became law in spring of 2021. Well, the great news is that I did not realize that there was really so much of this money that it wasn't being used up. And so viewers got a round of this money in spring of 2021, then last summer, then last fall. And a few weeks ago, I said, get another round. And viewers have listened and learned. And now they're getting this money as well. So get your pen and paper out. Let's go over where this money is and where you get the money from. It's thousands of dollars. The success stories came in overnight as well. Where do you get this money from? It's third stimulus. You get it from your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, your county house authority. And the keywords you say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You must do three things. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must put multiple applications on file, and you must do multiple rounds. Open that membership newsletter. The link is under the video's description, and lean on those nonprofits because the nonprofits pick up money for these items sometimes when you have issues locally. The success stories came in overnight, and boy, these are viewers who have listened and learned, and I am so excited, and sometimes I'm just shocked. I'm speechless. For me to be speechless is a rare occurrence. And overnight, I became speechless. Bill Garacinti writes, LA, I got my rent paid for a year. Thank you for your help. A year? 12 months? Now, folks, that's not a round. That's the whole year. If a round is 3 to 5 months of rent, he got 4 rounds in one effort. That is absolutely congratulations, big time, to Bill Garrison. This is what we do. So when viewers are doing this, they're generally getting 3 to 5 months of rent. So they may have got to January to March, and then the summer, and then the fall. Bill, he just leapfrogged over all of it. He got 12 months overnight. And it's absolutely incredible. This is what you do. Big sums of money. The day before that, Charles Garrison got $1,000 for energy assistance. Karen Phillips, just an incredible story. She got 3 months of rent and 3 months of utilities. She really needed it. She says, LA, you're amazing. And I need it because I lost all my jobs. I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent and utilities, but I contacted the organizations and I got it. 3 months and 3 utilities. Great job. If you had a success story on social media, a success story, send me on social media, Facebook or Instagram. And viewers are doing that. And I'm asking you to tell me which round. Is this the second time you've gotten money? Is this the third time? And let's look at the success stories the day before that. Here's Brian Donahue. Listen to this. This is a jam-packed sentence. He says, hey, Hawks, I just got a second round for 5 months of rent. Second round for 5 months. That means, what was the first round? 5 months as well? That looking like we're doing a whole year. This is absolutely incredible. Bob Bacon, you know him from the shorts. He's always in the live chat. He got 3 more months of rent. And then we have viewers, who really listen and understand we're here to get as much cash as we can. Get that financial independence. Get your bills paid by the federal government. It's all in here. Viewers are getting tens of thousands of dollars from this channel every single day. Is money going out? Yeah. Viewers are getting it every single day. And that is why you should do it as well. You want to rely on those nonprofits sometimes when you have problems with the city county. But the average of this channel is getting $45,000 from this third stimulus. Since spring of 2021, you want to get that money today. Don't sit around. Don't wait. Don't be looking at the mailbox. Grab the phone and make the phone call. Do it today. So the success stories came in right before that, and they were from Nisi. Nisi got in $30,000 to $40,000 from this earlier this last year. And guess what? She got another $10,000. And that was $7,000 for rent last week, another $3,000 for utilities. Congratulations, Nisi. And then we had Karen Joseph. She got $40,000 last week. Oh, my goodness. That is $23,000 of rent included. And she also got some utilities and SNAP. Incredible. Let's understand that the situation is very fluid across the board. But what is going to happen tonight is you're going to have a presidential address, State of the Union address. It's dramatics, it's TV, and he's not going to go over any check and Build Back Better Act. You may never hear the word Build Back Better. He may say economic policy. He's never going to say the word check. And then we're going to watch and see if the cameraman puts the spotlight on Joe Manchin's face. But what are some of those checks in the Build Back Better Act? Let's just take a look at them just for a second. There is the SALT cap raising from $10,000 to $72,500 they got in there. The nutrition checks, the children's checks, $3,600, the earned income tax credit from my hazard pay workers. Incredible checks across the board. The home repairs, the paid leave, the cheaper the nutrition, the cheaper prescription medication. Seniors, there's a lot of checks. Dental, vision, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare. The Medicaid gap fix is those 12 Republican states that never vowed to provide insurance coverage. Now it's in there. And those items are among the many provisions across the board. Again, tonight's State of the Union address is all dramatics, folk. It is not a briefing. He's not here trying to tell you if you're getting something. So that is how it rocks and rolls. It's our second State of the Union address covered on this channel since it launched a year and a half ago. I stand here with Ukraine. And the situation with Ukraine is very fluid in the next really 48 hours. Where are we financially? The situation in Ukraine. Let's go financially. The world economies are linked electronically in the last few decades. And because the sanctions have been so successful, the central bank of Russia has collapsed. It has remained closed. It's not receiving or distributing funds, basically. The stock market in Russia is closed. It opened once to try to stabilize and couldn't. The situation is that once the number 10 economy in the globe, Russia, is sliding very quickly and could be number 15 by the end of this week, could be number 20 by this weekend, and thereafter could actually be off the map. Could be like a China, like a Cuba. The situation is so fluid that there is a tense situation. And that tense situation is causing world economies to determine how to pivot because they don't want to get hurt by those elements, like the inability to provide gasoline to their citizens, the inability to stabilize their economies that may be dependent upon those other elements. So far, the Western allies have been very good on economic modifications, but there's a lot to be covered because the situation is changing by the minute. I don't want to go into all the banks that have been sanctioned in Russia. They're brand new in the last 24 hours, but there's a whole new slew of them. So things are changing by the minute. The big news is that Joe Biden has a series of tools in his hand here for gasoline. Jay Powell has a series of tools here to deal with inflation. The Congress has a series of tools there to get you money, and Joe Biden has a series of tools to get you money. A lot of different people that have a lot of different opportunities to solve situations, and they're going to get solved. Coming up later today is a brand new Afternoons LALATE at 3 o'clock. And yesterday, our 1 hour evenings LALATE special report at 5 o'clock was our most watched show in 3 months. It's back tonight. Again, another 1 hour special report. You do not want to miss it. It's at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. The latest developing details of Russia and Ukraine and how it impacts your financial freedom back at home. It's a show like no other. It's 1 hour in length, and viewers loved it, and it is incredibly in-depth. With the breaking details, a lot of hours go into researching that story. It comes out tonight at 5 o'clock. Meantime, next up is Live on Air. I Stand With Ukraine, the home edition at 11 a.m. Live on air in just 1 hour from now. Special edition. You may be wondering about the t-shirts. We'll talk about all that and more. And then a brand new 3 o'clock Afternoons LALATE with the latest developing details on your money. Thank you for all your incredible support. Stand with Russia. Stand against Russia. Stand against oppression. Stand against the tyranny and the madness of this horrible man, Vladimir Putin, as the situation is getting very tense and could change by the hour, by the minute. We stand in Ukraine, and we stand in battling a situation that is changing by the minute. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning. The toast is toasting, the toffee is coughing, and the butter is buttering. Stay balance.